Crystal said it, or no?
She was not.
Okay.
But she said we could be off by, a few hundred yards. So
3,000 miles, right?
Yeah.
2,000 miles. Now, Tats, you have a no bullshit approach to case law and defense. What do you think of psychics involving themselves in cases and being guided? What's the legal ramifications of a psychic pointing the investigators to a direction? Is that a way to tear the investigation apart?
Well, I think it puts some pressure on law enforcement, certainly when they're looking for someone or they're looking for a suspect or they're looking at a crime scene, right? Because you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. If you tell this woman or this man you're crazy, I'm sorry, but I don't have time for this, and then they had some sort of information, psychic or not, right? Maybe they're saying they're psychic, but they haven't actually have some information, and they don't follow that, and then you arrest somebody and you go to trial, and their defense attorney says, "Well, why didn't you follow up on that lead?" I just feel like it puts them in a very difficult position. As far as bringing it into court, I don't know what kind of foundation you would have to lay in order to bring a psychic up on the stand and say, yeah, I dreamt about so-and-so being behind a rock or whatever the circumstances are. I just don't think that there's any, in court, we look at scientific foundations. I was just talking to my audience last night about how in the 1980s when DNA came out, it was junk science, right? And now look where we are. So we don't, no pun intended, we don't have a crystal ball, but so we don't know what might happen in the future. But right now, I think
you would think that the psychic would also be able to foresee as a psychic that they would be needed to testify.
Potentially, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, Mike.
It's
I just
always
think that. I'm sorry.
No, I think, and what you were going to say, it's always they give you enough to make you think. And she said she's in the park, but I take it as the same thing as a fortune teller or somebody that says, "Oh yeah, today is the tomorrow of yesterday." Yeah, it is.
Yes.
So
it is.
But it's like, so you don't know, like there's nothing. And I didn't push her away. And there were a couple other mediums that called. 30 days. I wanted to try anything and everything. And you said on point. I didn't want to be the person that just shuns them and pushes them off. But because imagine if I had said, no, we're not even paying attention, and we find her in the park, she had that information. So.
Or imagine if she had other information and was just claiming to be a psychic, right?
Correct. Right. I want to transition to an important topic for one of my viewers, Sweet Steph, and a lot of other viewers, mental health awareness, and just how you guys have seen it progress over your law enforcement careers, from de-escalation to handling volatile, from DV to standoffs to suicide by officer. And I know you guys both have a story that kind of gives hope to those looking for mental health leniency, but sometimes kit gloves, being aware of the situation. Crisis intervention is now fortunately part of law enforcement and part of it teams. In fact, Chris and Dave both run symposiums on and are trainers for crisis intervention techniques as hostage negotiators. But I really would like you both to tell the story about what happened. Again, this wasn't Ben Salem. It seems like everything's in Ben Salem, but that's not true. It's Philadelphia generally. It's a big area. But yeah, you were coming home from somewhere. I think it was New Year's Eve, right, Chris?
Christmas Eve.
Eve.
Right, Dave? It was Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
And was it 08 or 09?
08.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it was Christmas Eve of 08. It was probably about 6:30 in the evening. And the 911 call came out that there was a family that was being threatened by a son who lived in the home. He had a shotgun, and he was in mental crisis, mental health, and I was actually pretty close to it when it came out, and I was one of the first ones to get there. And as I was arriving, by the time everybody got there, and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, but everybody was out of the house except for Billy.
Correct.
Yeah. And in speaking with the family, they told us that he did have mental health issues. They believed he may have also had a substance abuse issue. So that, I'm sure you've heard the term dual diagnosis. There was two issues going on. And he actually was a trained Marine. He had been in the Marines. And I remember when I got on the phone with him, he wasn't, how do I say this? He was nice, but he was kind of like, you guys have no control over this. You're not going to tell me what to do, but he wasn't, he was being conversational at the same time.
Well, he's an honorable discharge Marine with the utmost respect for law enforcement. That's what I want to say, because he's always maintained that.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't want to hurt a cop.
But I mean, you got there shortly afterwards, and we set up. But how long did that take? That was about a 7 or 8 hour job, wasn't it?
Yeah, several hours.
We were talking with him, trying to. He had some, he was making threats about suicide. A couple times he took a couple shots. But didn't he shoot a Christmas lawn ornament?
He shot his microwave in the house. He shot walls in the house. He shot the neighbor's car, which is an issue because our SWAT team was outside and they were assuming that he was shooting towards them, which was not the case. And we learned that much later.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, after about 8 or 9 hours, we were able to get him to agree to come out. Unfortunately, he did get shot.
Or our Andy, our sergeant, thought he came out because he negotiated him out, but wasn't the case. Billy had gotten a call from a friend whose son had cancer, and because of everything he did with that little boy and helping that little boy through this whole process, he came out on his own and told us, "I'm coming out." And our sergeant, who was the head negotiator, thought he caused him to come out, but it wasn't the case.
And then he did, what'd he do? Just not quite 2 years in Bucks County Prison?
2 years in the prison. He got out.
He got the help that he needed, because he was never seeing the right doctors. He was never on the right medication. He was self-medicating, so nothing was working well. I mean, he actually is diagnosed schizophrenic, correct?
Oh, yeah.
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 And he told us about the voices he was hearing and whatnot.
Yeah, once he got out, he was vital in our CIT training because we used his experiences and him expressing and sharing what he heard and saw. Like we went to Baltimore to speak at the national conference, and we're in the car, and Billy's like,